June 6, 1944, Normandy beaches. Moments after midnight, British paratroopers dropped into darkness, landed in fields, behind German lines, scattered, separated from units, facing a problem that tactical planners anticipated. How do you move quickly after landing? How do you cover miles of enemy territory on foot, carrying equipment, under fire? The answer was supposed to arrive with them, dropped in separate containers. A folding motorcycle, the Welbike, designed to fit in a cylindrical parachute case, assembled in 15 seconds, provided instant mobility, 30 miles per hour, enough to reach objectives, to link up with units, to move faster than the enemy expected. But the Welbike faced something designers never adequately tested: Normandy mud. Thick, deep, sticky, the kind that swallows boots, that stops vehicles, that turns mobility into immobility. And the tiny motorcycle, with its small wheels and minimal ground clearance, was completely defeated by it. This is the story of the Welbike. Ingenious engineering, clever design, perfect on paper, useful in some circumstances, but ultimately a solution that met reality and lost. A lesson in how brilliant innovation can fail when one variable, mud, was underestimated. The problem emerged in 1940. Britain formed airborne forces, paratroopers, men who dropped behind enemy lines, seized bridges, disrupted communications, caused chaos. But they faced inherent limitations. Once on ground, they were infantry, moved on foot, carried what they could. Speed was limited to walking pace, maybe running. Airborne commanders recognized this vulnerability. Paratroopers needed mobility after landing, needed to cover distances quickly. But how? You cannot drop vehicles easily. Standard motorcycles were too heavy, too large. Parachute drop would destroy them. Needed something different. Excelsior Motor Company received specification in 1941. Design a motorcycle that fits in a parachute container. Must be small, must be light, must fold or disassemble for compact storage, must be quick to assemble under combat conditions, must be reliable, must provide tactical mobility. The engineering challenge was enormous. Standard motorcycles weighed 150 kilograms, too heavy for parachute drop with other equipment. Excelsior target was 32 kilograms, less than 1/4 standard weight, but still functional, still rideable, still useful. Designers started radical. Eliminate everything non-essential. No suspension, no lights, no speedometer, no horn, no kickstand. Minimal frame, minimal seat, minimal handlebars. Just engine, wheels, steering, fuel tank. Absolute minimum to function. The engine was Villiers 98 cubic centimeter, 2-stroke, single cylinder, air-cooled, generated 2 horsepower. Tiny, but enough to propel light motorcycle to 30 miles per hour. Top speed. Sufficient for tactical movement, not for highway, for battlefield. The frame was ingenious. Tubular steel, U-shaped. The seat mounted on top. The engine hung below. The fuel tank integrated into frame. No separate tank, just cavity in tube. Held 1 gallon. 20-mile range. Short, but paratroopers operated behind lines for hours, not days. 20 miles was adequate. Handlebars folded. Critical for compact storage. They pivoted down, lay parallel to frame, reduced width dramatically. The front wheel assembly detached partially, telescoped inward, further reduced length. The whole motorcycle collapsed into itself, like origami. Metal origami. Fully collapsed, Welbike fit into cylindrical container, 4 feet long, 15 inches diameter. Dropped with parachute, alongside other supplies, weapons, ammunition, Radio equipment. The container protected motorcycle during drop. Absorbed impact, then opened. Motorcycle extracted, assembled, ridden. Assembly required 15 seconds. Trained paratroopers could do it in dark, by feel. Unfold handlebars, lock them. Extend front wheel assembly, lock it. Check fuel valve, kickstart engine, mount, ride. 15 seconds from container to mobile. Training emphasized speed, because 15 seconds in combat meant vulnerability, meant exposure. Paratroopers practiced assembly repeatedly. Timed drills, competition. Who could assemble fastest? Because fastest meant safest, meant less time standing still, less time as target. The Welbike was tested extensively in Britain, proved functional, reliable within limitations. Small wheels meant rough ride. No suspension meant every bump transmitted directly to rider. But it worked. Moved fast, covered distance, met specifications. Production began in 1942. Excelsior manufactured approximately 4,000 units, issued to British and Canadian airborne forces. American paratroopers showed interest. Some units received them, tested them. Results varied. The first combat deployment was Sicily, July 1943. British paratroopers dropped. Some brought Welbikes. Terrain was mixed. Roads existed, hard-packed dirt. Some Welbikes performed well, allowed rapid movement. Paratroopers covered miles quickly, reached objectives faster than on foot. But problems emerged. Small wheels struggled on rough terrain. Rocks, ruts, ditches. The motorcycle had 8-inch wheels, tiny. Standard motorcycle used 19-inch. The difference was significant. Large wheels roll over obstacles. Small wheels hit them, stop. Sicily showed another problem: noise. The two-stroke engine was loud, very loud. Distinctive sound announced presence. In covert operations, noise meant detection, meant losing surprise. Some paratroopers abandoned Welbikes, chose stealth over speed, walked instead of rode. Normandy was next test. D-Day, June 6, 1944. Largest airborne operation in history. Thousands of paratroopers, hundreds of Welbikes dropped with them. Containers landed, paratroopers assembled motorcycles. Attempted to ride and met mud. Normandy had been flooded deliberately. Germans opened dikes, turned fields into marshes, added to natural wetness, June rain, soil saturation. Result was thick, deep mud. Not surface mud, deep mud. The kind that sucked boots off feet, that stopped trucks, that made movement exhausting. Welbike's tiny wheels were completely inadequate. 8-inch diameter, narrow tires, minimal tread, no ground clearance. The motorcycle sank, wheels spun, found no purchase. Engine screamed, went nowhere. Paratroopers tried pushing, added body weight. Motorcycle sank deeper, became stuck, immobile. Many Welbikes were abandoned within minutes of assembly, left in fields. Too stuck to recover, too heavy to carry, useless. The engineering marvel defeated by mud, by one variable that designers underestimated: mud depth, mud consistency, mud everywhere. Some paratroopers found roads, hard surface. Welbikes worked there, allowed movement, but roads were dangerous. Germans expected traffic on roads, watched them, set ambushes. Using road meant exposure, meant risk. And Welbike's loud engine announced approach, eliminated surprise. Post-operation analysis was harsh. Welbikes contributed little to Normandy success. Most were abandoned. Those used were often liabilities. Noise compromised operations. Mud immobilized them. Weight became burden when stuck. Conclusion: concept was flawed for conditions encountered. But Welbike saw some success in different terrain. Later operations: Holland. Operation Market Garden. Terrain was flatter, harder, less mud, roads more accessible. Some Welbikes performed adequately, allowed scouts to move quickly, reconnoiter ahead of main force. The motorcycle found unexpected users: resistance fighters, French resistance, Italian partisans. They operated in different conditions, used roads more, operated in dry seasons. Welbike's small size was advantage: easy to hide, easy to transport. Engine could be silenced with modifications. Post-war, Welbike had civilian applications. Some were sold surplus. Cheap transportation, minimal motorcycle for minimal price. Collectors found them interesting. Engineering curiosity. Working example of wartime innovation. Today, surviving Welbikes are museum pieces, reminders of ambitious design. The technical achievement should not be dismissed. Excelsior created functional motorcycle weighing 32 kilograms that folded into 4-foot container that assembled in 15 seconds that reached 30 miles per hour. That was groundbreaking, revolutionary even. No one had built motorcycle that small, that light, that packable. The problem was not engineering. Engineering was excellent. Problem was application. The Welbike was designed for theoretical paratroop operations, assumed certain terrain, assumed hard ground, assumed roads nearby. Assumptions that did not match Normandy reality. This is lesson in military procurement. Brilliant. Solution to problem as defined, but problem was defined incorrectly or incompletely. Designers optimized for weight and size, sacrificed ground clearance and wheel size, made sense on paper, failed in mud. Modern military recognizes this, tests equipment in realistic conditions, not just on proving grounds, in actual terrain where it will be used, in weather conditions that will be encountered. Learns from Welbike. Learns that one overlooked variable can invalidate entire concept. The Welbike story is not about bad engineering. It is about incomplete requirements, about assumptions, about optimizing for some variables while neglecting others, about how innovation must account for all conditions, not just ideal ones. Consider what Welbike represented. Attempt to give paratroopers mobility, solve real problem. Men dropped behind lines needed to move fast, needed advantage. Welbike could have provided that, in right conditions, on right terrain. But those conditions were not Normandy. Not that night, not that mud. Consider the paratroopers, trained to assemble Welbike quickly, practiced repeatedly, anticipated using it, then landed in mud, tried to ride, watched wheels spin uselessly, felt motorcycles sink, realized clever design was useless here, had to abandon it, walk anyway. Carry weight they thought motorcycle would spare them. Consider designers at Excelsior, who solved incredible engineering challenge, who created functioning folding motorcycle, who met every specification, did everything asked, but whose product failed because specifications were incomplete, because no one adequately tested Normandy mud, because assumptions were wrong. The Welbike teaches humility, teaches that brilliant engineering is not enough, must match conditions, must account for reality, must test in environments that will be encountered, not just in laboratories, not just on smooth ground, in mud, in rain, in darkness, under fire. Modern folding vehicles exist. Electric bikes, compact scooters. They descend conceptually from Welbike. Same goal, portable mobility, quick deployment. But modern versions have larger wheels, better ground clearance. Learn from Welbike failure. Incorporate those lessons. So when you think about Welbike, think about it as engineering success and operational failure, both simultaneously. Success because it did what designers intended. Failure because what designers intended was insufficient. Lesson that specifications matter, that testing matters, that assumptions kill. Remember those paratroopers in Normandy who assembled Welbikes in darkness, who tried to ride through mud, who abandoned them in frustration, who walked miles they hoped to ride, who succeeded despite Welbike, not because of it, who proved that human determination matters more than clever tools. And remember that innovation requires more than cleverness, requires understanding context, understanding conditions, understanding that 32-kilogram motorcycle with 8-inch wheels is marvel of engineering, but inadequate for deep mud. And that, knowing this difference between marvel and adequacy, between theory and practice, between laboratory and battlefield, that is wisdom.